Good morning, friends. Good morning, my students. Today's topic for tourism products will be on bird sanctuaries in India. What actually, by the way, is actually a bird sanctuary? A bird sanctuary can basically be defined or introduced as a protected area for birds or members of different members of the avian species. Just like different varieties of flora and fauna, there has to be a protected area for birds, where the background or the backdrop is basically hospitable for the growth in the population of birds, which helps in their breeding, which helps in their reproduction. They can stay in the wet marshy lands, they can build their nest, they can lay eggs, they can be in their own natural environment. Ultimately, they find it convenient or hospitable to promote and grow and expand their population. So those protected areas which are found all over the world are basically known as bird sanctuaries. Frankly speaking, the study of birds is known as ornithology. As far as ornithological definition is concerned, a bird reserve is basically a wildlife refuge designed to protect bird species. Like other wildlife refuges, the main goal of a reserve is to prevent the species from becoming endangered or extinct. The main motto of a bird sanctuary is to ensure the conservation and preservation of birds wherever they may thrive, wherever they may dwell, so that their numbers get expanded and the population of the species or the type of the bird, it becomes maximized. Because of the protection, the birds get the birds get tremendous scope to multiply in their numbers. And a bird reserve is basically an area where steps have been taken to preserve a habitat that is very vital to birds. It can be areas such as wetlands that normally attract many birds, or land that is important to the survival of an endangered species. Globally speaking, there are different kinds of protected areas. Now, if I speak about the different bird sanctuaries, in India, there are different bird sanctuaries located across different parts of the country. Basically, the Ramsar site, as we call it, those locations are basically known as Ramsar site. The Ramsar Convention is basically originates in Iran. The Conservation Convention on Wetlands of International Importance, especially as waterfowl habitat, is an international agreement to protect wetlands with special focus on aquatic birds. Now, if I have to speak about the different bird sanctuaries in the country, my list will always start with the renowned Keoladeo National Park, also known as the Ghana Bird Sanctuary, also known as the Bharatpur Bird Sanctuary, located in the largest Indian state of Rajasthan. It is an iconic bird spot in Rajasthan. This sanctuary has a place in the itineraries of many luxury train routes of India. It is also known as Keoladeo National Park. The sanctuary covers 28 square kilometers area, and the region is home to 36 different species of the avian family. Avian means bird. With the bird population, you can also find other animals out there in the place, along with different varieties of snakes, butterflies, turtles, amphibians, and lizards. The next on my list will be the prominent Nal Sarovar Bird Sanctuary in the westernmost Indian state of Gujarat, and is primarily located in the wetlands and the marshy areas of Gujarat, very close to the Rann of Kutch. This is one of the largest wetland bird sanctuary in India. And in Nal Sarovar, Gujarat, you can come across many endangered species of mammals, as well as snakes, different varieties of lizards, as well as 250 species of wetland birds like ducks, pelicans, flamingos, etc. Next we go to the south. In South India, in Karnataka, we come across a prominent bird sanctuary called as Ranganathittu Bird Sanctuary. Ranganathittu Bird Sanctuary is in fact the largest bird sanctuary located in southern India. It covers 40 acres of land, and there are 170 species of birds found in these places. The region has got many islets, small islets, which are richly populated with birds and small animals. Sometimes crocodiles are also found. It is also known as the Pakshi Kashi of Karnataka. Pakshi means birds, and Kashi means zone. It is the bird zone of Karnataka. This Ranganathitu Bird Sanctuary attracts more than 100,000 tourists and visitors every year. Top activities to enjoy here are also guided boat ride, interpretation, and bird watching. Then on the eastern coast of India, very close to the Bay of Bengal, in Orissa, we have got the Chilka Lake Sanctuary. This sanctuary is the continent's largest saltwater pond. The pond holds many islands, very small islands, which serve as the breeding spot for a variety of birds. The lagoons or the backwaters found in these places, where water from the Bay of Bengal or water from the sea rushes into the mainland and forms small water bodies called lagoons, serve as a home for more than 160 different species of migratory birds, which fly from Russia, Mongolia, China, the colder regions, the Caspian Sea, Himalayas, and Ladakh to come here to build their nest, to lay eggs, then give rise to their young ones, suckle them, and then again, once they grow older, they again fly back to their original places. This is primarily because there is a tendency that it is a common habit of birds to lay eggs in warm weather, warm climate, where the environment is warm and cool, is warm and hot, which is conducive for the eggs to hatch and for the young ones to come out of it. Moreover, the Chilka pond is also used as a fishing pond, and on the bank of the Chilka, you will find lots of turtles, and tortoises. Apart from bird watching, the Chilka lake is also famous for watching sunrise and sunset. Next, if we go to the north, we have to go to the state of Haryana, very close to Delhi, and near the township of Gurgaon, we have got the Sultanpur Bird Sanctuary, which houses more than 250 different varieties of members of the avian flu. It contains not only different varieties of endangered species of birds like pelicans, different varieties of ducks, pelicans, cranes, what is called bottle-necked cranes, different varieties of black-winged teal, common teal, yellow wagtail, rosy wagtail, rosy pelican, etc. But also, apart from the birds, even reptiles are also found in these places. And all the bird sanctuaries mentioned and highlighted in today's lecture attracts millions of tourists every year, and on a per day basis, the footfall is enormously high. This has tremendously contributed towards the rise of tourism in the country. So I would like to conclude by saying that just like national parks and wildlife sanctuaries, bird sanctuaries play a prominent role in enhancing the tourism economy of the country, as bird lovers and ornithologists, for research purposes, for study purposes, for data collection, for information purposes, they come to India from different parts of the world, and they cannot go back from this land without making headway into these already mentioned and aforesaid bird sanctuary destinations, because they know once they come there, they will gain a lifetime experience which they had never ever gained earlier, or will not be able to gain in any place of the world. Therefore, India tourism is tremendously buoyant because of the presence of bird sanctuaries in its domain. Thank you very much. Thank you, students.